Good morning. I hope that you all are good. Today we are here with chapter number 6, part 3rd, that is combustion and flame. In this chapter, yesterday I have told you about some topics. That is, I have told you about different types of combustion. I have told you about the rapid combustion, spontaneous combustion, incomplete combustion and complete combustion. That is left. Today we are going to know about that what is complete combustion and what is incomplete combustion. So first of all, we know that what is complete combustion. Complete combustion means the combustion that takes place in the sufficient amount of oxygen. If the sufficient amount of oxygen is available, in that case, if the fuel burns, that type of combustion is known as complete combustion. And incomplete combustion means that the combustion that takes place in insufficient quantity of oxygen, means here the complete combustion not takes place, partial combustion takes place due to the insufficient supply of air, and that type of combustion is known as incomplete combustion, and during this process very less amount of heat is released. So this is about the complete combustion and the incomplete combustion. Now today we are going to discuss about the rest of the topics that is given in this chapter one by one. So first of all, we know that what is fire extinguisher. So let's know about that what is fire extinguisher. Fire extinguisher is mainly a device that is used to extinguish a fire, and it is made up of a cylinder which is red in color. It is red in color for its easy identification, and we have seen the fire extinguisher at certain places like cinema halls, banks, hospitals, schools and other public buildings. The working of the fire extinguisher is mainly based on two principles. It works on two principles. The first one is that it brings the temperature of a burning material below its ignition temperature, and second is it cuts off the supply of air. So on the basis of these two principles, fire extinguisher works, and structures mainly consist of a safety pin at the top. There is one nozzle, and that cylinder is filled with carbon dioxide and water. So the carbon dioxide gas is mainly filled in this, and that carbon dioxide gas, I have told you that the gas is heavier than oxygen, so it forms a blanket around a combustible material, and it cuts off its supply of oxygen, and by this way the fire gets extinguished. So it works on these two principles, means it brings the temperature of the burning substance below its ignition temperature, and it cuts off the supply of air. Now there are different types of fire extinguishers. The first one is the dry powder fire extinguisher. Now we are going to know about that dry powder fire extinguisher. Dry powder fire extinguisher is a type of fire extinguisher that is most commonly used in home, and it is mainly consists of a mixture of sand and baking soda, that is also known as sodium bicarbonate, and that mixture is sent on a burning material. So when it thrown on a burning material, the heat of the fire decomposes the sodium bicarbonate and release the carbon dioxide gas. Means that when it thrown on a burning material, the heat of that fire that causes its decomposition, and it gets decomposed into sodium bicarbonate, water and carbon dioxide gas is released, and that carbon dioxide gas is used to extinguish the fire. So this dry powder fire extinguisher works like this way. There is one diagram that shows the dry chemical fire extinguisher, that is most commonly used fire extinguisher, and it is most commonly used in homes. Now the second type of fire extinguisher is soda acid type fire extinguisher. Now we are going to know that how it works, and it is also the most commonly used fire extinguisher, and it is mainly consists of a cylinder. There is one diagram that shows you that there is a one cylinder, and that cylinder is mainly consists of a solution, and that solution is of sodium bicarbonate. So that cylinder is filled with the solution of sodium bicarbonate, and you are observing that in its upper part there is a bottle, and that bottle is mainly filled with acid. The name of that acid is concentrated sulfuric acid, and at the top of it there is a knob, and that knob, when that knob is struck, the acid bottle breaks and the sodium bicarbonate solution comes in contact with the concentrated sulfuric acid. So the reaction between the sodium bicarbonate and the concentrated sulfuric acid takes place by this way, and during this process a gas is released, and that gas is the carbon dioxide gas, and that carbon dioxide gas is ejected, means it is liberated through the nozzle under the pressure together with the solution in the container. The carbon dioxide gas smothers the flame, whereas the water from the sodium bicarbonate solution has a cooling effect on the burning material. So it works like this way, and by this way the fire gets extinguished. So this is about the working of the soda acid type fire extinguisher. So there is a one diagram that shows you that it is consists of different parts. So the different parts are there, and there is one handle, there is safety pin, then pressure gauge is there. There is a one bottle at the top that is filled with sulfuric acid, and it is mainly consists of a cylinder, and that cylinder is filled with the solution of sodium bicarbonate. There is a nozzle here. So this is about the soda acid type fire extinguisher. The next type of fire extinguisher is foam type fire extinguisher. Now we are going to know about that. What is this foam type of fire extinguisher? Foam type of fire extinguisher is mainly similar to the soda acid type fire extinguisher, but here in this, along with sodium bicarbonate solution, a substance is filled, and that is known as saponin, which produces a foam with the gas solution and issuing from the nozzle. The foam is being light, and will float on the surface of the oil fires. So it works like this way, and it cuts off the supply of air. So this is about the foam type of fire extinguisher. Now these are the three types of the fire extinguisher that we have studied today. We have studied about the dry powder fire extinguisher, soda acid type fire extinguisher, and about the foam type of fire extinguisher. Now let's know about the next topic of this chapter, that is flame. Now we are going to know about that flame. Yesterday also I have told you that what is flame. Flame is a zone where the burning of gases or vapor takes place. So there is a zone where the burning of gases or vapor takes place, producing light and heat. So how you will define it, that what is flame? Flame is a zone where the burning of gases or vapor takes place, producing light and heat. The flame is mainly results due to the rapid combustion of the fuel, and we have seen that the flame is consists of different colors. So how these different colors are present in flame, that is mainly due to the That depends, the color of the flame is mainly depends upon the temperature and the amount of oxygen that is available and the nature of the substance burning. Blue color flame, we have seen that blue color flame that we have seen that there is a that blue color flame is the outermost flame. You have seen the flame of a candle. The outermost flame of a candle is blue in color, and it is the zone of complete combustion, where the complete combustion takes place due to the sufficient amount of oxygen. So however, there is an insufficient supply of air. You have seen the yellow color flame also, where there is not the sufficient supply of air, and due to this it is yellow in color. So the color of the flame is mainly depends on the temperature and the amount of the oxygen, and it also depends upon the nature of the substance. Only those solid, liquid and liquid substances which vaporize on heating. Yesterday I have told you that whatever the solid, liquid or the gaseous substances which vaporize on heating, solid or liquid substances which gets vaporized on heating produces the flame. When a fuel burns completely, the flame without a smoke is obtained. We have seen also when the fuel burns completely, then we just obtain the flame, but there is no any smoke is produced. And if the fuel is not burned completely, then in that case we will get a smoky flame. Smoke is also released along with the flame, and that smoke is mainly consists of unburned carbon particles, and that unburned carbon particles is also known as soot. So today we are going to study about the structure of the flame. That flame is consist of 3 zones: outer zone, middle zone and the inner zone. These zones have their different characteristics. Today we are going to know about that what are the characteristics of these zones. So this flame is mainly consist of inner zone, middle zone and outer zone. These zones have their characteristic color, and that mainly depends upon the different temperature. They are having their different temperature. The candle is mainly made up of paraffin wax that contains hydrocarbons, and when the wax get heated, these hydrocarbons are the compound that mainly contains hydrogen and carbon element, and that hydrocarbons are converted into vapor which catches fire and produces a flame. So flame is produced by this way. So when this paraffin wax that is mainly consists of hydrocarbon, it gets burned, that hydrocarbons are gets converted into vapor and which catches the fire and produces a flame. The flame is mainly consists of 3 zones. The first zone is the outermost zone. Outermost zone is also known as non-luminous zone, and it is thin, and the color of this zone is blue. As the oxygen from the air is readily available in this zone, you are knowing that we are just observing that it is the outermost zone, so it is getting the continuous supply of oxygen. So this is the zone of the complete combustion. Here the complete combustion of the fuel takes place, and this is also known as the hottest zone of the flame. And here the temperature of this zone is maximum is about 1800 degree Celsius. So this is about the outermost zone. Secondmost zone is known as the middle zone. Middle zone is also known as luminous zone, and it is yellow in color, and it is the largest zone of the flame. In this zone, the fuel not completely burns due to the insufficient supply of air, and here we will get the partially burned carbon particles, and these hot carbon particles emit the light, and this zone that gives us soot and smoke. So in this zone we will get the soot and smoke we are knowing, and a soot means unburned carbon particles. So we will get unburned carbon particles in this zone. Innermost zone, the innermost zone is also known as the third zone is the innermost zone, and it is the dark zone. and it is cooler in comparison to the outermost zone and the middle zone, and it contains the fuel wax in gaseous state. Here the fuel gas is found. Here the fuel that is wax is found in its gaseous state, and there is no oxygen is available in this zone for the burning to take place. So here there is no combustion of the fuel takes place in this zone, and it is the cooler than other two zones. So this is about the innermost zone, outermost zone, and the middle zone. So this candle flame consists of three zones. Outermost zone, the outermost zone is also known as non-luminous zone. Middle zone, the middle zone is also known as luminous zone, and the innermost zone is also known as the dark zone, and they are having their different characteristics. So with the help of one activity, we are just going to observe that there is a presence of unburned carbon particles in the middle zone of the candle flame. So in order to perform this activity, the things that are required are, there is a requirement of a candle is required, lighted candle is required, and that candle. So how we will perform this activity? Its procedure are as follows. Take a candle and place it on a table. Light the candle and hold the metal sheet with a pair of wire tongue and introduce it into the luminous, that is the middle zone of the steady flame of the candle for about 10 to 20 seconds. So what we will observe after 10 to 20 seconds? We will observe that there is a circular blackish ring is formed on its metal sheet. So from where this blackish ring is formed, what the conclusion we will get? This circular blackish ring indicates the deposition of the unburned carbon particles, and that unburned carbon particles are present in this middle zone. So with the help of this activity, we just come to know that there is a presence of unburned carbon particles in this middle zone. So with the help of this activity, we just know that the unburned carbon particles are found in the middle zone of the candle flame, because these unburned carbon particles is also known as soot, and they are mainly present in this middle zone due to the insufficient supply of oxygen. So here the partial combustion takes place, and due to this unburned carbon particles are formed, and with the help of this activity, we just observe that these unburned carbon particles are found in this middle zone of the candle. Now our next topic is about the fuels. Now we are going to know about that what is fuels. Fuel is a material that burn to produce heat and light. So the material that burn to produce heat and light is commonly known as fuel. There are certain kinds of fuel. There are three types of fuels also. Solid fuels, they are found in solid state also, they are found in liquid state also, and they are found in gaseous state also. So there are so many examples of the fuel like kerosene, LPG, petrol, diesel, coal, wood. These all are the examples of the fuel. So fuel is a good source of heat energy, and it is a good source of heat energy to us. There are different types of fuel: solid fuel, liquid fuel, and the gaseous fuel. Now we are going to know about that. The fuel which is found in solid state at the room temperature is commonly known as solid fuel. For example, coke, coal, wood, charcoal. These all are the examples of the solid fuel, and these are natural. Wood, coal, peat, dung, these are the natural, and secondary artificial stages, coke and charcoal. Coke and charcoal are artificial. Liquid fuels. The fuels that occur in liquid state at the room temperature is known as liquid fuel. Petroleum is natural, and diesel, kerosene, LPG, coal tar, naphtha, ethanol, these all are the artificial. Gaseous state. Gaseous fuel means the fuels that occur in gaseous state at the room temperature is commonly known as gaseous fuel. Natural gas is natural, and hydrogen, propane, methane, coal gas, water gas, furnace gas, these all CNG, these all are the example of the artificial fuel. So this is about the types of the fuel. So fuel is what a material that is burned to produce heat and light is commonly known as fuel, and there are three types: solid fuels, liquid fuels, and gaseous fuel. Now we are going to know about the next topic that is related to this. We are going to know about that what is fuel efficiency. The fuel efficiency of a fuel is mainly expressed in the term of its calorific value, and I have told you that what is calorific value. Calorific value is the amount of the heat energy is released when the complete combustion of 1 kg of fuel takes place. So the amount of heat energy is produced on the complete combustion of the 1 kg of the fuel is known as calorific value, and the different fuels have its different calorific value, and they are mainly expressed in kilojoule per kg. For example, the wood having the calorific value is about 17,000 to 22,000 kilojoule per kg. Coal has its calorific values from about 25,000 to 33,000 kilojoule per kg. Kerosene has its calorific value 45,000 kilojoule per kg. Like that, different fuels have their different calorific value. Hydrogen has 1,50,000 its calorific value. So this is about the calorific value. What conclusion we will get? The good fuel have its high calorific value. So we are going to know about that what are the characteristics of the ideal fuel. There are different characteristics of the ideal fuel which are as follows. The first one is that it has its high calorific value. High calorific value means it produces a large amount of heat on its burning. So when it's burned, it produces a large amount of heat. Next is that it has the proper ignition temperature. Ignition temperature, I have told you that it is the minimum temperature at which it starts burning. So it has its proper ignition temperature, and when it burns, it do not produce any kind of harmful gas and do not leave any residue after its burning. It is very cheap and easily available, and it is easy to transport also, and it burns in air at moderate rate. Moderate rate means neither too fast and not too slow. So these all are the characteristics about the ideal fuel. Now we are going to know about that burning of fuel leads to the harmful products. When these fuels burn, it produces the harmful products which pollutes the air. The harmful products are carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, oxide of nitrogen, oxide of sulfur, and these also produce the harmful effects. So what are the harmful effects produced by these harmful gases, which is mainly produced due to the burning of the fuels, are as follows, in which the first one is the incomplete. If the incomplete combustion of the fuel takes place, in that case produce a very toxic gas, and the name of that gas is carbon monoxide gas. Formula is given here, CO, carbon monoxide gas. And this carbon monoxide gas that combines with the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a red pigment that is found in blood, and so it combines with the red pigment of the blood, and it reduces its oxygen combining capacity. So when it combines with the blood, when carbon monoxide gas combines with the hemoglobin of the blood, it forms carboxyhemoglobin, and it leads to the deficiency of the oxygen in the body, because it reduces the oxygen carrying capacity of the hemoglobin. So it reduces the amount of the oxygen in our body, and it results in suffocation and even death. So this is the harmful effect that is produced by the incomplete combustion of the fuel. And when these fuels burn, they release the carbon dioxide gas into the environment, and that carbon dioxide gas causes the increase in the temperature of the atmosphere, because the carbon dioxide gas have the ability to trap the heat. So it increases the temperature of the earth, and it results into global warming. So when the global warming occurs, it causes the excessive melting of the polar glaciers, and due to that melting of the polar glaciers, it causes the increase in the level of the water in the sea and the oceans, and that would result in flood and submerging of many low-lying areas. So these are the harmful effects of this carbon dioxide that is produced mainly due to the burning of the fuel. Like that, burning of coal and diesel releases sulfur dioxide gas into the atmosphere and nitrogen dioxide gas into the atmosphere. And these gases that is present in the atmosphere, when it combines with the water, it results in the formation of acid like sulfuric acid and nitric acid. And these acids, when fall along with the rain, it causes the acid rain. That acid rain is quite harmful for the crops, for the buildings, and for the soil. It affects the soil also and reduces the fertility of the soil, because it makes the soil acidic. So these gases also result into the respiratory problems, and they are of suffocating nature. So these are the harmful gases that is produced due to the burning of the coal and diesel, and that results into the acid rain. Next is about that burning of the fuels like coal, wood, petrol, that releases the ash. The ash are the fine particles that is suspended in the air. These are the unburned carbon particles that is mainly found in the air in the suspended form, and so that's why these are the minute particles suspended in the air, and that's why they are known as suspended particulate matter. So these fine particles has its different effects, that these fine particles spoil the clothes, reduces the visibility, blackens the buildings, and it also causes the various respiratory diseases like asthma. And in winter, these particles produce smog, which is very harmful to the plants and the animals. So these are the different harmful products, that is harmful effects that is produced due to the burning of the fuels. So this is about the last topic of this chapter that I have told you today. So in this chapter, just revise all the things that I have told you. Just I am going to remind you all the things. We have studied about the combustion, and I have told you that what is combustion. The combustion, I have told you that what are combustible substances and what are non-combustible substances. I have told you that what are the conditions that is necessary for the combustion, and I have told you that what are the different types of combustion. Next, that we have studied in this chapter is about the fire extinguisher. Firstly, I have told you that what is fire extinguisher and what are the different types of fire extinguisher. I have told you about that flame, what is flame, and what are the different zones of the flame. What is fuel, what are the characteristics of the fuel, and what are the different types of the fuel. So we have covered all these topics in this chapter. So students, again revise all the topics one by one, and whatever the questions that is given in your book and the exercises that is given in your book, try to complete it yourself, and just complete all the just try to solve the exercises yourself only, and read this chapter again and revise all the topics. Next we will come with the next chapter and with their question answer also. So students, be happy and thank you.